How's it going, everybody? It is Dennis, and we're back with another video. And Thanksgiving has passed. November has passed. I hope everybody's Thanksgiving has been a great one, or was a great one, and spent your time with family and friends. But as always, November is over, and that means it's time to go over how much I've earned in my portfolio from dividends, from options, what has made me what, like how much has ETF made me, and how much has all these stocks and ETFs been doing, or how they've been doing in my portfolio. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Of course, OHI, STHD, and MAIN, I say every single month. Since I've sold them, I have sold these ETFs. I no longer hold them, so therefore they're no longer paying me dividends. So let's go ahead and get right into the juicy ETFs of YieldMax ETF. So starting off, we have TSLY. TSLY here has 554 shares, or 554.7143 shares at 0.4277. And we earned $234.79 from it. If we go ahead and take a look at the breakdown, we could go ahead and go to the weekly breakdown, since now all these single stock ETFs are paying weekly. If we take a look, we could see on week 1 we started off at 543.7143 shares. We got 1470 as our dividend distribution, and that earned us $79.93. We then moved on to 548 shares and the same amount in decimals. Then we got 96.4 for distributions, earning us $52.90, so a decline from week 1. Then week 3 we had 551 shares, and we had another decline at 88 or 8 cents and 87, or 0.0887. So another decline in distributions, and that earned us $48.94. And then lastly, for week 4 we went back up to 95.6, or 0.0956 in distributions for our 554 shares that we were holding, and that earned us $53.03, leaving us with the grand total of $234.79. I really need to stop pressing the right click button. But that is how much we've made from TSLY, and that leaves us so far for November earning a grand total of $3,102.57 on the year since November. Of course, we still have December left, and as you saw before, we already got our first week numbers from December, and also we had a reverse split. So now instead of 554 shares, we have 110 shares for TSLY, but now we're getting distributions of $93.50, and this was actually a pretty high distribution because you can see we earned $103.73. So December starting off strong. We'll see how that ends for this year and where we're sitting at this year, but currently, like I said, we're sitting at 554.7143 shares. Total distribution of $6.3646, and total earned $3,102.57 from TSLY. Let's go ahead and move on to AMZY, and hopefully I stop clicking the right click button. I need to just not put my finger there. We're currently sitting at 418 shares on AMZY. Total distribution for this month was $56.85, and we earned a total of $235.37. Let's go ahead and look at the breakdown for AMZY. If we go ahead and take a look at the breakdown for AMZY week 1, we started off at 411.5 shares. We earned $29.39, and we made $120.94. Week 2, we came in at 415.5 shares and made $10.67, so a half or almost triple drop, or 3 times less than we made in week 1, and that earned us $44.33. Then we had 417 shares, and we had an 850 distribution, or 0.0850, and that earned us $35.45. And then lastly, we ended off week 4 at 418 shares, and we made a measly 0.0829 with distribution per share, or $34.65. So we did see a decline in AMZY's distributions from week 1 to week 4, with week 1 kind of coming in clutch with $120.94 earned, or $29.39 distribution per share. But as you can see here, for December 1st, week 1, we also have 419 shares, so extra share on top, and we got a distribution of $19.45, and we're back at $81.50 earned. So it seems like we're going back to strong distributions, hopefully, for the rest of the month of December from AMZY. But where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us once again at 418.0008 shares, earning a total of $56.85 per share and $235.37. So since November for 2025, we've earned $2,347.12, and we've earned a distribution of 6.5476 so far for 2025. Moving on, we have APLY. APLY, as you may or may not know, I have not been reinvesting into, so the shares are not increasing. We've been sitting at 303.0854 for the whole year pretty much. And for this month, we've earned 34.01 per share or $103.08. Looking at the breakdown for APLY, we can see that we made 11.08 in week 1, 0.0647 for week 2, 0.0983 for week 3, and 0.0663 for week 4, earning us a total for week 1 of $33.58. For week 2, $19.61. Week 3, $29.79. And week 4, $20.09. As you can see, week 1 for December also coming in strong, similar to all the other ETFs we just went over. So that leaves us once again with $103.08 earned for November, a little weaker than October and a little weaker than September, also August as well. And just in general, kind of like the weakest so far. And we made 34.01 per share at the same 303.0854 shares, leaving us with total distribution so far for the year of $4.3978 per share, and a total income earned from APLY of $1,330.64. Moving on to another one, GUI. Haven't been adding shares into it since the beginning of the year pretty much. So sitting at 334.9993. Or pretty much 335 shares, and that's earned us $70.18 per share, or $235.10. We take a look at the breakdown for that. We go ahead and take a look at week 1. We made 28.02. Week 2, we made 9.0939. Week 3, we made 0.0999, and then week 4, we made 22.78. So week 2 and week 3 were weak. Week 1, week 4 were strong, with week 1 earning us $93.87. Week 2 earning us $31.46. Week 3 earning us $33.47. And week 4 earning us $76.31. And again, week 1 for December coming in strong, similar to the other ETFs. So that leaves us again with $235.10 earned for November from GUI, or $70.18 distribution per share. No shares being added so far for this year. We earned a total of 5.5218 distribution per share for GUI, and we made $1,846.48. Moving over, we have AMZY. Take a look at AMZY's breakdown. AMZY for week 1, once again, another ETF that's been sitting at 244, have not been adding shares into it. So week 1, we started off at 1207 distribution. Then we moved on week 2 at 1467. Week 3 was 1795. And week 4 was 1097. Earning us a total for week 1 of $29.45, $35.79, $43.80, and $26.77. Giving us that total of $135.81. And once again, another ETF that week 1 of December seems to be doing good at $37.67 earned so far for week 1 of December. So December is going to be an interesting month to see how YieldMax performs. But if we take a look, once again, $55.66 earned per share, $135.81. Total distribution so far earned for 2025, not including December, is 5.7568 per share, and total earned from AMD is $1,387.15. Lastly, we have YMAX. Let's go ahead and look at the breakdown for YMAX. If we take a look at the breakdown for YMAX, we have week 1, we started off at 1,064.0098 shares. We earned a total of $17.43. We made $185.46. Then we went over to week 2, where we went up to 1,072.0098 shares, and we earned $15.06, so a decline from week 1, and we made $161.44, and that was a negative 12.95% decline from week 1. Week 3, we added more shares at 1,079.5098 shares, and we earned $13.01, another decline, making $140.44, that being down 13.01% compared to week 2, which was already down negative 12.95% compared to week 1. And lastly, we have week 4 at 1,086.5098 shares. We made $10.12 per share, another decline, and we made $109.95, or down negative 21.71% compared to the week prior, which was down negative 13, and the week prior to that was down negative 12.95, and the week prior to that was down 7.68. So a full red month for YMAX, unfortunately. But we still beat September $428.02 compared to, of course, November, another 4-week that we had. Of course, we don't count October because October had 5 weeks of distributions. We're not going to count that one. But November and September both had 4 weeks, and November came out higher at $597.30 compared to October's $428.02. But also, we were sitting at 937 and 955 shares from the beginning to the end, compared to now where we're sitting at 1,064 to 1,086 due to, of course, reinvestment and additional investments from other sources like other dividend ETFs and, of course, option income strategies. As you can see for December, that decline does not end. For week 1, 1091.5098 is how many shares we have. Another increase in shares as always, but another decline in the distributions per share at 0.0964 or $105.22. Getting very close to being under the 3-digit mark, which is not too great from YMAX. And hopefully they're able to kind of help switch that up. And maybe this distribution we had this week will help that for next week, since that's how the YMAX works. And that's a negative 4.3% decline. But looking over at the bigger picture, once again, sitting currently at 1,086.5098 shares as of November. 0.5562 is our total distribution per share. So you can see that's probably why we're stronger than September, because September only had a 45.25, and we earned $597.30. And so far for the year, we've made $7.1729 in distributions per share from YMAX, of course, not including December, and we made $5,471.72. In total, for November, just from YieldMax ETFs alone, we earned $1,541.45, or a 39.62% decline from October. Of course, this is an increase from September, which is another 4-week, and an increase from August, which is also a 4-week distribution calendar. So therefore, we're beating those 2 weeks, so we've increased in distributions. But of course, we lost to October because they had an extra week of distributions, and their distributions were just quite high as well. So there's that bias to be considered as well. But still, pretty good from YieldMax ETFs in general. Of course, they haven't been performing the greatest recently. I have my remarks on that, and I think they could do a little bit better. But hey, listen, an increase is an increase, and we'll take it where we can. Go ahead and take a look at the main screen again. We can see all these numbers popping up here, the similar numbers that I showed you before, so no need of going through it. If we could just literally just take a look, I guess, from month to month, I guess, as well. We can see what the changes were. So from October to November, we could see that $126.84 in October, $103 in November, $657 from TSLY in October, $234 in November, $222.34 in AMZY in October, $235 in November. So it seems like we did beat October numbers from AMZY. So we beat that. That's one. The rest I'm pretty sure we lost because GUI came in at 403.64, and November GUI came in at 235.10. AMD came in at $334.84, and in November it came in at $135.81. So yeah, that was the only one that beat. AMZY is unfortunately the only one that beat for October to November when it came to distributions. But moving on, we can see that HTGC paid us quarterly paying ETF that's been in my portfolio forever. Paid me $79.44, an increase from the last quarter of $77.54. Then we have QDTE. Let's go ahead and take a look at a breakdown at QDTE. For November, we started off at 413.0022 shares. We earned $20.46, and we made $84.50. Then we went to week 2, which we upped it to 419.6022 shares, and we made $22.30 per share, or $93.57. Then we went to week 3, where we had 430.2022 shares, and that made us $22.46 distribution per share, or $96.62. And lastly, it was week 4, where we stopped at 439.5022 shares, and we made $23.40 per share, or $102.84, leaving us with the total of $377.54 earned, only having 1 week that was red, which was the first week at negative 11.67. But besides that, if you take a look, October to November are actually pretty close, especially since October did have 5 weeks of payments, and we still came in roughly $30 to $40 near what October made. And that's thanks to, of course, the additional amount of shares that we added. As you can see, the shares we were adding from week 1 of October to week 5 of October were quite slow and not that dramatic compared to November, where we went from 413 shares to 439 shares. That is because I've been adding more into QDTE because I believe that the stability is there in distributions, the stability there is in NAV, and also their strategy is quite nice for the current market that we're in because they're able to capture upsides and downsides during the night. Besides, instead of locking themselves on a weekly strategy, they have 0 DTEs and so on and so on and so on. Anyways, not financial advice, but currently I'm enjoying QDTE a lot. As you can see, for week 1, December, they paid a huge dividend of $38.48 per share. Not quite sure if this is for tax purposes or they're just paying it to paying it. I'm not sure. I didn't do my research on it, but $175.78 is what we're earning so far for December week 1. So it's going to be very interesting to see how QDTE performs for December. But yeah, going back to the main sheet, $377.54 earned beats the month of September, of course, 319.96 shares. Does not beat October, but October also had 5 weeks of payments, but it came really damn close to beating it. And we can see that there's consistent growth in QDT, 302, 319, 418 is whatever, because we had 5 weeks of payments, and then 377.54. If we didn't have the 5 weeks of payments, it would probably been a nice growth right here going on of 302, 319, probably around like 340-ish maybe, and then 377.54. Giving us, of course, a total so far for 2025 from QDT of $3,235.35 earned. Okay, moving on. We have JEPQ. Oh, let's not show too much there. Oh, I'm showing too much. Whatever. JEPQ earned us $34.02. This is another one that has been steadily increasing, and I continue to put money into it and dollar cost average in my portfolio because this is a long-term play. Even though there is QQQI and I'm aware of it, I am putting money into JEPQ just because it's a JP Morgan product, and I just want to diversify not only in what I'm invested into, but also who owns the product and created the product, just in case, there's some issues in the future. But $34.02 earned from JEPQ. From SPYI, we earned $63.25. Another one that's been increasing steadily month over month, but that's, of course, to be expected with reinvestments and, of course, with the way SPYI is. Then we have BTCI, which has been a little bit slow this month and wasn't able to beat last month of October. And that is because, of course, Bitcoin had a little bit of a tumble, but we still made $12.12, so not too shabby. And that was, of course, reinvested back into itself at these low prices, which helps out a lot with dollar cost averaging. Then we have MAGY, or MAGY, which paid us $150.63. So let's go ahead and take a look at that breakdown. So starting off at week 1, we have 95.8708 shares. We started off at week 1. Week 2, we didn't add any shares. We stayed at 95.8708. Week 3, we added up to 100 shares, or 100.1708 shares. And then week 4, we went up to 108.6708 shares. So we earned $37.25 for week 1, $37.64 for week 2, $38.63 for week 3, and then $36.93 for week 4. As you can see, I love this ETF. It keeps paying weekly basis, right? And it continues to stay steady with its distribution. Has it dipped a little bit recently? Yeah, it's at $36.93, and this week it's at $36.06. But it's also been paying, consistently around that range. So it's not too bad, and it's not dropping dramatically. It might drop a little bit here and there when, of course, the NAV depreciates or NAV has a little bit of instability, like it currently does, because the Mag 7 overall market has been having a little bit of instability and doesn't know what it's doing quite right. But how much has that earned us? That earned us $35.71 for week 1, $36.09 for week 2, $38.70 for week 3, and $40.13 for week 4, giving us 4 weeks of growth. 6.82, 1.05, 7.23, and 3.71, and beating the month prior at 22.04%. But also we had a pretty big purchase over here from 95 to 100 and 100 to 108. So that probably was due to distributions that I decided to put into MAGY, similar to QDT, and also, of course, option strategy income coming in as well. So $150.63 is how much we've earned. It continues to grow month over month, week over week, so that's very nice to see from MAGY. We also have ULTY that earned us $11.79. We could take a look at ULTY. Let's go ahead and take a look at ULTY. That's not ULTY. ULTY should be here, so let's go ahead and move over to ULTY. Where is it? There we go. So looking at ULTY, week 1 of ULTY, we started at 43.4715 shares, and we went to 44.2325 shares, 44.8909 shares, and then 45.6182 shares. We earned a distribution of 788, 626, 642, 594, and then boom, December we got hit with a reverse split. So I haven't put that data in actually yet, just because I don't know. ULTY is not that important to me to put data into. Currently, it's just a play I have on the side. But listen, $11.79 is $11.79, right? We made $3.43, $2.77, $2.88. I don't know why I continue to press the right click button. I'm so sorry. And then $2.71. But we did have 3 weeks of red week over week and only 1 week of green. Similar, actually not similar to last month. So not too good. But still $11.79, an increase from the month of September. October we did not beat, but October had 5 weeks of distributions, and also they were quite strong. So yeah, we couldn't beat that. YBTC, I still didn't put anything in for October. Whatever. It wasn't that significant. It's fine. But we made $7.13 from YBTC this month. I mean, it's okay. It's not bad. It's just there. But anyways, total income from dividends for the month of October, or no, sorry, not October, November. I'm clicking the right button again and again and again. I don't know why. It's just clicking it. But we made $2,270.24. That is down negative 30.75% from the month prior, but that is to be expected because, of course, the month prior had 5 weeks of payments. They had changes in YieldMax distributions and how they distribute their ETFs and what time they follow. So that is to be expected. But what is not to be expected is the increase from September to November. As you can see, we went from 1801 to 1761, and then we went to 2270, 24. So we had a pretty big increase from these 2 months that are similar to each other, right? Because it'll be 4 weeks of payment and 4 weeks of payment. But like I mentioned before in the last video for October, I mentioned that these $3,278.20 will contribute to this big increase in November because all those distributions that we received extra or more of was reinvested back into the ETFs and therefore increased the dividends that we're getting. So are we going to be able to get to 3,000 by the end of this year? No. But we're getting close. We're building, and it's getting faster and faster. And that's what I mentioned before. Compounding is a great thing, and you're seeing here right in a live in effect, right? Like we're started off this month or this year at 1340. Then we went to 1459, 1358. Stop clicking, right click. Then we went to 1456, 2,194, which is probably a 5-week payment. 1609, then 2,285, which is probably another 5-week payment. Then 1801, 1761. Then 3,278, and now 2,270.24. And of course, now we have December coming up, the last month of the year, and this is probably going to be another strong one, just because, of course, of tax purposes, and they're going to be paying out all the income they've earned from tax. They've been withholding just for tax purposes, so that should be a strong month, which will probably beat the month of November, to be expected, and it will probably come in lower in January compared to December. But be higher than November because we will have that extra income to reinvest and grow. So that is that is dividends earned and distributions earned from YieldMax ETF, from Roundhill, from all these different ETFs in my portfolio. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the option side of the portfolio has performed. Let's go ahead and take a look. SPYI has earned us $1,041 for the month of November. We do that by trading a poor man covered call strategy. I was able to move my contracts and therefore earn $1,041. And actually, my contracts are supposed to end in December, or they were supposed to end. One of them was supposed to end in December, and I thought that I'll be able to move it over, or I thought I'll be moving it over to next year of December, and it would probably cost me like $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 at most. I was willing to pay to move it over, but I actually was able to pay nothing. I paid nothing to move it over. I got myself a delta of around 0.75, maybe a little bit higher, like anywhere from 0.8 to 0.75. If you don't know what delta it is, that's a chance of profit pretty much, and also the risk kind of that you're taking, as well as if the SPY moves $1, your contract moves $75. If it's 0.75, or if your contract, or if the price of SPYI moves $1 and your contract's 0.8, then you'll move up $80 per that $1 move. And of course, that varies day to day, month to month, depending on where SPY is, how safe the contract is. So the safer the contract becomes, so meaning the farther SPY gets away from your contract value, the stronger that delta becomes, and therefore the stronger the movement of your contract is, and therefore the more you win. So yeah, so I moved that contract over to December of 2026, and thankfully now I have another year to play around and make $400 every single month from that one contract. And it didn't cost me anything, so that's gonna make me how much money right there? That's gonna make me roughly math. Why can't I do math? That's gonna make me roughly $4,800 in the year of 2026 if I play my cards right. 4 times 10, 4,000. Then yeah, okay, I'm right. Sorry about this. It's been a long day, but I'm actually training for a 5K that I'm doing in the day after recording this, or the day after posting this video. I'm running a small 5K in the middle of winter. So I've been training for that, and it's been kind of tiring. But anyways, $1,041 is how much we've earned from SPY, and it's been a good month overall. Then you could probably do the total right now, $2,270.24 plus $1,041. How much does that come out to, Dennis? Or how much does that come out to, Chad? Well, it comes out to a total of $3,311.24, which is down negative 22.53%, of course, compared to October. But October had 5 weeks of payments and also had a huge amount of change and everything of that sort. But it comes in stronger than, most importantly, September of $2,581. So that is very, very nice to see. And of course, the option strategy came in strong at 4.52%, which is actually beating the month of October. That's the only thing that beat the month of October. But anyways, that is how much we've earned for the month of October. Or so I keep saying October. That's the month amount we've earned for the month of November, earning in $3,311.24. Of course, I say all the time in these videos. First of all, not a financial advisor. Do not take my choices in stocks and ETFs as advice for what you should invest into. And also, this income that I'm earning is not real income, and in the sense of like I'm not using it. Most of this goes back into portfolio, gets invested back into it. So yeah, it's not being used. This is not $3,311.24 going into my pocket. Could it be going into my pocket? Maybe half of it could it be. So I could be reinvesting 50% back in, and the rest of it could be going back into my pocket. So that would be roughly a little over $1,700 going into my pocket every single month if I wanted to. But I'm not doing that because, of course, I want to increase my portfolio size, grow my portfolio, grow my income, and therefore what I'm doing is reinvesting it all back in. So, yeah. And also, if you did not know, my SPY contracts, all that $1,041 I earned went straight into dividends. Or actually, I'm lying. 700 of it went into dividend ETFs. 300 of it goes into bonds. I'm actually holding roughly almost 5%. No, I'm lying. I'm almost holding 4% of my portfolio in bonds, which is very nice. I know it's boring. It's not that entertaining, but bonds are cool. Making money from bonds is cool. You make a dividend here and there. It's like $10 roughly, I think, for this month. I made like $10 in bonds for this month. And that wasn't too shabby. And also, it's a great place to store your money instead of cash. You're making dividends. It's safe and secure because it's bonds. It doesn't lose value, and you make some money on the side. Why not do it? So that currently is going to continue to grow until it becomes 5% of my portfolio. Once it becomes 5% of my portfolio, then I will stop investing into bonds. By bonds, I mean SGOV. That's what I'm currently investing into. Once that gets to 5% of my portfolio, I will stop because I just want to have 5% of my portfolio in something that I could sell and purchase if need be. Because, we're reaching market tops every single week and month and so, need to have some money on the side while we're going up and up and up, right? Need to save some money on the side. And also, I'm also still doing my little security play where I buy contracts every single month and betting or hedging against that total market, just in case we have a hard drop like 20 to 30%. 10% won't really make me that much. 20 to 30% will make me a lot. or not a lot, but good enough to keep the account at float, and also a good amount to make me money to then purchase more shares at a lower price, right? If it drops 20, 30, say it drops like 30%, the market drops 30%. Actually, if the market drops 30%, my account will probably drop more because my account is a little bit leveraged. And I've seen how it drops compared to the market. Like if there's like a 1% drop in the market, my account will drop like 2%, or maybe a little bit under 2%. So it's like 2x leverage, I guess, in a way. So, you know, we have a 30% drop. My account will probably drop 60%. But because I have this play, it will probably not drop at 60%. It might actually drop it like the market will at 30%. And guess what? I have that safety. I have my bonds that I can sell and buy stuff. And then I also have that play I have, or that safety net that I have with my hedge against that market. And that'll make me like around $20,000 probably, based on my, you know, my calculations and what I ran through Option Profit Calculator. And that'll make me around $20,000, which I could go ahead and sell for profit and put it into the market at low prices, assuming that we hit the bottom. But that's pretty much it. That is how much I've earned for the month of November, not October. And yeah, that is pretty much it. $3,311.24. Let's hope that December it comes in strong and we're able to get another $4,000, baby. Another $4,000 wouldn't be too bad. Because then we'll be ending off the year almost at $40,000 earned from option and dividend income. And assuming that we get another $3,000 somewhat dollars in dividends, our dividends alone will be making us around $23,000 to $24,000 in income. So not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I will see you guys next week for next week's video. Once again, hopefully your guys' Thanksgivings and celebrations were good. Spend time with family, spend time with friends, and whoever you want to spend your time with. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys next week for the next week video. And anyways, goodbye, good night, good evening, whatever, however that movie goes. See you guys.